Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to master the psychological secrets behind making a truly unforgettable first impression. We've all been in those situations where we desperately want to connect, right? Maybe it's at a networking event, a high-stakes date, or just meeting a new colleague. Well, let's dive right into the exact anatomy of an interaction and see how you can build magnetic likability from the ground up. So, have you ever met someone who just instantly commands respect and charm within seconds of saying hello? Go ahead and picture that incredibly magnetic person right now. It kind of feels like a superpower, doesn't it? But here's a really fascinating truth. This kind of charm, it's not magic. It's actually a structured, completely learnable skill that's built on a series of simple psychological habits. Here's the roadmap for our explainer. First, the psychology of magnetic charm. Then, mastering your silent signals, hacking subconscious trust, navigating deep conversations, and finally, the ultimate likability factor. All right, let's jump right into phase one, the psychology of magnetic charm and its subconscious foundations. It all starts with a huge foundational concept you might be familiar with called the halo effect. Basically, this is a cognitive bias where an overall positive first impression actually influences how a person feels about your specific traits. Think of it like this. By nailing these initial subconscious habits we're about to cover, you're creating a glowing filter for yourself. If you start strong, the other person's brain will literally bend over backwards to view everything else you do in a highly positive light. It's an absolute game changer. Moving right along to phase two, mastering your silent signals during the initial approach. Okay, so the very first habit of highly likable people is basically great hygiene. Just smell decent. Take a shower, wear clean clothes, and use exactly 1 squirt of cologne on your wrist and neckline. Simple enough, right? But beyond hygiene, you've really got to master your body language. You want to consciously point your feet and your chest directly toward the person you're talking to. Why? Because this is an incredibly powerful unconscious signal. It tells their brain that you feel completely safe and open around them. But please, whatever you do, skip the half-gallon of Axe body spray. We have all been trapped in a room with someone who clearly tried way too hard and practically drowned themselves in fragrance. The goal here is a subtle, subconscious difference, not some overpowering sensory assault. When it comes to scent, less is always more. So, you're smelling great, your feet and chest are pointed directly at them. What's next? Subtly mirroring them. You're going to want to match their energy level and subtly copy their gestures to build immediate subconscious trust. Combine that mirroring with a proper, non-creepy handshake, and boom, you have physically established a highly connected dynamic right out of the gate. That brings us to phase three, hacking subconscious trust during the engagement. Now that you've established basic safety, how do we actively build trust? Well, we use a neat psychological trick called the Benjamin Franklin effect. This is a crazy phenomenon where someone who performs a favor for you actually begins to like you more. Their brain rationalizes it by thinking, well, I'm doing something for this person, so I must really like them, right? It is a highly ethical and effective way to hack an interaction and foster instant warmth. So how do we actually use this in real life? It's simple. When you meet someone new, just ask for a tiny favor. Keep it super low stakes. Ask them to pick up a pencil you dropped or maybe help you with a really small errand. By giving them a chance to help you, you immediately trigger that Benjamin Franklin effect. As the interaction continues and they're talking, you need to employ the fourth habit, giving them your absolute undivided focus. Maintain strong, direct eye contact. Make mental notes of what they say so you can bring it up later. And here is a truly fascinating biological cue to watch out for. Check their pupils. If their pupils dilate to let more light in, it physiologically means they are psychologically attracted to the stimulus, which in this case is you, and they want to take all of you in. Pretty wild, right? All right, phase four, navigating deep conversations and building the connection. If you really want to deepen the connection, you absolutely must avoid what I call interview mode. You know the drill, firing off surface-level questions like, so what do you do? Or how old are the kids? It just feels awkward and uncomfortable for everyone. Instead, you want to cultivate a natural flow. The secret sauce here is to add a brief comment about how you feel about the topic before you ask your next question. Just this one simple conversational pivot leads to significantly deeper and far more engaging conversations. And to push that connection even deeper, we use the sixth habit. Be the very first person to open up and share a personal, slightly embarrassing secret. Look, humans have a natural instinct to be wary of new people. But when you offer up a secret first, say something slightly goofy like the fact that you have 11 toes, you prove that you trust them.
And psychologically, this effectively forces them to reciprocate that trust and open up to you. Finally, we've arrived at phase 5, the ultimate likability factor. The takeaway?
The seventh and arguably most crucial habit of all is simply having your own amazing life. Whether you're into programming, motorcycling, reading, it really doesn't matter as long as it's a true passion of yours. Having an intense passion makes you infinitely more interesting to everyone you encounter. You can't just rely on conversational tricks, right? You actually have to put in the hard work to build an awesome, fulfilling life for yourself behind the scenes.
Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to this. Execution is everything. You can sit here and memorize all the psychological theory, the halo effect, the Benjamin Franklin effect, looking for pupil dilation, but it is completely useless without real-world application.
Which leaves us with one final provocative question. Are you going to just lay in bed for hours at night wondering if people like you, or are you going to go out and actually build an unforgettable connection? The choice is entirely up to you. Stop overthinking it, get out there, and put these 7 magnetic habits into practice today. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.